So I'm working for my buddy Toby. He said he got this shirt out just for me. I'm not an expert, but I watched a lot of my videos.
A lot of Blair's YouTube videos, yes.
So I have an unusual job that I'm working on right before Christmas. I'm working at a buddy of mine's house up in the mountains here. And one of the things that's unusual is the species of oak that we're working on. This is a Quercus lobata, a valley oak. And in the best of my knowledge, I have never seen a valley oak up at this elevation, but this tree is enormous. It must be hundreds of years old, but it's in a prominent location in front of this house that used to be an old house, which may have been an old house before that. So I don't know whether this was planted by one of the early settlers in this area or possibly by the indigenous people. But it doesn't fit. So anyway, I've got my GoPro on for a change. I don't normally get it out, but the thing about the GoPro that I don't really like is it often has more of a wide angle lens and it makes everything appear a little bit smaller and higher, but it does capture a lot of the good images. Personally, my favorite knot for tying has always been a clove hitch. This is what I was taught a long time ago. It's a simple knot to tie. It's also an easy knot to tie wrong, but it's a self-tightening knot, so the more pressure you put on it, the tighter it gets. And you can see I'm doing a little bit of clever roping here. Got Jorge on the ground. Had to get it up and out of the way. That is a lot bigger than it looks. I did what I could with the bucket. I could get most of the stuff over the roof, but there was one that was out there just beyond my reach, so in the afternoon Jorge had to change. I want you to pay attention to the changes in the weather up here as well. Started off, the sky was pretty blue, the sun was out, it was quite nice, and after a while it clouded up and I thought it was going to rain. This is a relatively new house. It's only about 5 years old, and the reason that we're doing this weight reduction was there was a lot of construction impact. There's you can see way off in the distance here on the left, there's the garden that I helped my friend Toby work on. But because this house is here and there was a lot of construction impact as well as previous impact from past owners, we didn't want to take the tree out, but it was considerably heavier on the house side, and I did identify a number of weaknesses. So I used the ring to, both of the rings to lower stuff down. I did switch out to the bigger bull rope. I like the smaller rope for, cuts up to, a few hundred pounds, but once we start getting into, 300, 400, 500 and up, I like to switch over to the bigger, heavier bull rope. There you can see I've got the larger ring, and then I've got this tied also with the clove hitch. I did not do an undercut on this one, so it's really touchy. You don't want to cut so fast that you cut through your rope. You have to slow way down and pay close attention to what you're doing. This is a little trick that I have on my bucket. If you've got a bucket truck, where you place your saws is always awkward. So I put a small hook on the outside, and that has worked into be a real godsend for me. I still keep it tied to my saw lanyard, but when I put it down there, it takes the weight off of me, and I don't have it floating around inside the bucket. There I go, I tied another clove hitch on this one. It's the fastest clove hitch you've ever seen. But this piece of wood is 300 or 400 pounds. It's full of water, and so it's very, very heavy. And like I say, the GoPro camera distorts it. It's actually a lot bigger than it looks. A lot of people say do an undercut first, but I didn't need to do an undercut because because there wasn't any excess weight out there that would cause this to rip off. And I was going to continue taking the limb back further and further. When I came to the final cut that I needed to be clean, yeah, then you can do an undercut or a cleanup cut. But knowing when to just cut from the top and when to undercut is something that, most arborists understand it, but a lot of homeowners don't. And if this was a full-size limb and I did this, it would rip and tear all the way down. It would be a nightmare. Jorge and I have been working together for 27 years, and we both understand each other really well, and the roping that we do together has proved to be very, very efficient. So here's a tricky decision. I did not want to cut it so far back that I would cause the remaining limb to dry out, so I just wanted to make one small cut just beyond this wound. If I would have cut it, say 6 or 8 inches closer to that upright, I think that I would have just exposed nothing but decay on the outside. So it was kind of a questionable, what should I do type of a cut, and I opted to cut it here. You see, there's a little cleanup cut, and you can see how much gunk is in this decay pocket up here. It was full of water. A lot of people say, well, put in a drain, put into this, put into that. Well, it's better just to kind of leave it be, but I'm trying to get some of the gunk out of here because it's a way of knowing just how bad it was. All right, I'm doing a freeze frame here because I want you to look at this decay pocket. At the very, very top of it, you can see that there's a nice straight line across that decayed area. That's where the original chainsaw was cut decades ago, because that's a lot of new growth on that. That could have been done 30, 40 years ago. But I'm guessing that this was very likely a flush cut, which led to the decay and the long-term decline here. I don't know how long it would last, but I made the decision to get the weight off of it now. That was the deciding factor for me to take off the entirety of this limb, that big area of decay, as well as 2 other decay pockets further out. But once I got in here and started pulling out all this basically compost for years and years of debris in there, it was a pretty good decision. So much gunk. I often wonder if I had to save some of this stuff sometime and see how it works for potting mix. And then the afternoon we switched off. Now I'm back to my iPhone. You can see the sky is clouded up. We took lunch and Jorge got up there. I let him get up there with a bucket as high as he could, and he got out. If you've got the tools to simplify your job, use them. Use what you've got. So he's setting a couple of ropes. I think I left that rope out there for him because he had to get way out there, but he wanted to be tied in way up at the top, which was a smart move. So he's actually using 2 ropes up there. He's got the rope in the top, which is his support, and he put this one over there to simplify pulling him over to where he was working. And then all of a sudden, the sky cleared up again. This was all in the course of about half an hour. It went from looking like it was going to rain to almost completely sunny. There was an urgency to this job because we had a week of stormy weather that was in the forecast. So I wanted to get this all done before the storms came. I also wanted to get this done when the tree was dormant. It was much, much heavier because it had a tremendous crop of really large acorns. So my friends were quite concerned that might cause the tree to topple. So I'm telling them that the tree is safer not absolutely safe because I don't know what happened underground. I don't know what the damage is, what the potential damage is. All I can do is give an educated guess. But by taking a lot of weight off on the house side, I'll show you at the very end what the tree looks like. We left it more upright with less strain pulling off in that direction.
He's heading which way? Towards us or away from us?
Don't hit the roof. And finally, this is what the tree looks like after we're all done. And look at the sky now. It just totally cleared up. Thanks for watching.